These last few months, I've talked to you about some do's and don'ts for planning and running a meeting. The idea is to get results. So right now, I'm just going to give you a mini checklist that you can use to measure yourself and see how you are doing and take into account. So I'm going to start first with the meeting leader and their responsibilities, and then move on to the meeting participants. As far as the meeting leader, the real job starts before a meeting even happens, to think about, well, what's the what, the who, the why, the how, really planning that through, thinking who are the right people that need to be there, what's the plan in terms of how the decision is going to be made, what the time frames are, all of that. So getting that done along with creating the agenda and making sure that the right people are going to be attending the meeting. And of course, the meeting leader must show up early to ensure the fact that all materials are out, that people are being welcomed as they come in. So there's a lot of jobs and roles that meeting leader has in advance in planning the meeting. Now, once the meeting has started, it's the meeting leader's responsibility really to set the tone, to make sure that people are aware of where they're going, what the results, what the outcomes are going to be, and how they're going to get there. So they're going over all that and making sure that everybody is involved, everybody is included at the beginning of the meeting. There's a reason that they're there. And of course, during the meeting, the role is to facilitate that discussion, to move things along a path, keeping it on time, moving toward getting the results. And so it's getting the right information out there and going through a process of decision making and prioritization, and then of course the action steps. The meeting doesn't end once an action is determined, and that's important for the meeting leader at that point to think in terms of, well, how do I pull this all together? What's our communication plan? Who do we need to get this information out to? Who's accountable for what? And then evaluating the meeting as well, making sure that things are on track and we did do what we wanted to accomplish. And then ultimately, when it's over, after the meeting leader has to ensure the fact that the right people got the information, that follow-up is being done, people are being accountable, and ultimately starting to plan the next meeting. So there's a lot of jobs for that meeting leader. But the meeting leader is not the only one responsible for results. It's also the participants. And I really get annoyed when people show up at a meeting and they're like victims. You know, they say, well, I didn't know that I had to be prepared or we were going to talk about something. And my question back always is, well, why didn't you know? So if you are invited to a meeting, take the time. Call that meeting leader and say, is there an agenda? What are we going to do? What do I need to come prepared with? So it's important for that participant to do his or her due diligence in advance of the meeting, as well as showing up on time. Now, during that meeting, what's the participant have to do? The participant has to participate. They have to be a team player. They have to be open. They have to volunteer to do things. They have to listen. And they have to help the leader move toward results. And they don't want to be the one that's interrupting and not listening, etc. So they want to arrive on time, and if they're going to be late, they need to tell the leader. If they're going to leave early, they need to tell the leader. But they're part of the team. And it is important that the participant doesn't just show up. They really are there as a participant to get results. So how are you doing with all these? You know, are you taking all this into account for yourself? If so, my bet is that your meetings are effective. If not, then take a look at where you and your team needs to go to get the results of the meetings that you're looking for. Your time is way too valuable to just spend time in meetings and hang out. It's all about the results. So pay attention to this. I know if you apply the techniques that I've talked about during this series, your meetings will be more effective.